Hello, welcome in Physio in Lesotho. I'm Wolfgang, a double qualified physiotherapist, and I would like in this video talk about the prevention and treatment of contracture in spastic children.
Wolfgang, can you tell me about the problematic of the spastic child and the contractures, please?
Yeah, as we all know, following the spastic children, with time, spasticity can get more and more, or long-standing spasticity creates dysfunction in the joint and shortening of the tissue, shortening of the muscles, contracture. If these distorted movement, these contracture are not moved and stretched out regularly, these contracture will become more and more hard. They will even gain more, and we have severe functional limitation, and it can go as far as it becomes difficult to nurse the child. Let's say when adduction in the hips are too contracted, it's difficult to nurse the child, and so on. And then, of course, children will have dislocated joints, probably pain, and it's difficult. So there we have to think about measures to prevent, and those contractures which probably are not preventable, to treat them regularly, at least to contain contractures, to maintain important functions, so that the child can sit well, can lie well, can turn over well, and can be nursed well. So these goals we would like to achieve by regular treatment.
Wolfgang, can you tell me about the realistic prevention and treatment of this spastic child?
Yeah, as I tried already to say, it is absolutely impossible in a severe, let's say, tetraspastic child to prevent completely the contractions and dysfunctions. That would be too much, a too high expectation. But it is true too. If we move regularly these children, if we stretch out, if we use sometimes splinting, positioning and so on, if we are daily engaged with that type of taking care for the body of the spastic child, things will get much, much better as when we are not doing it. I saw children, they had never physiotherapy, CP children with 15, they were so badly disabled by their... Now this about prevention. The treatment of contractures, as early we start, as better it is. But it is true too that due to long-standing spasticity, the tissue change, spastic muscle by time gets somehow dystrophy and shortened and cannot be extended as much as we wanted. So it is relatively what we really can do, but what we really know, if we start early and we do regularly prevention and treatment, the contracture will be contained. And in the long term, it will be helpful for just feeling good, the well-being of the child, to maintain the function which should be maintained, and to avoid dislocation of the joints. Let's say the hip. We know when the complete angle between, when the child is in full abduction of the hip by 90 degrees flexion, if this abduction from one leg to another is at least 90 degrees, then we know that the luxation of the hip can be prevented, at least maintained. If this contraction goes narrower and narrower, then of course it pushes the head of the hip out of the socket. So it's just a mechanical question. Or the same, if we maintain the knee extension by 30 degrees, let's say it's 20 degrees, 10 degrees maybe extension limitation, then we can help to avoid the hip subluxation. If the knees get contracted to 90 degrees, then together with the adductor contraction of the hip, then of course the baseline is given for subluxation of the hip or luxation of the hip, which is then a problem and pain and so on. Therefore, if we maintain this contraction in these ranges, things go much better in a long term. So therefore, let me say, yes, we can prevent, yes, we can treat, we have limitations, but if we really do it on regularly and we don't give up, result in a long term is much better.
So, and then the treatment, how, when, where, and with whom?
Yeah, this is the big question. I always say what we can do at home is really that what counts. Don't think running to the most qualified physiotherapist in a city which probably is long away, then you will have the treatment. This expert physiotherapist will be helpful to you to teach you how you do it. What really counts is what we do every day at home. So the expertise of the physiotherapist or the rehabilitation worker and so on shall help you to understand how to do at home. So the treatment is mainly done in the family or with volunteers coming into the family, supported by the rehabilitation worker, the physio assistant and the physiotherapist in the local hospital. What we do at home? Of course, going regularly to the physiotherapy will be helpful to have a good monitoring and to improve the technique or find out what we now have to do or to understand when is the right moment for a splint, because the right moment is the right moment. You can do too early a splint or you can do it too late. And probably together with the surgeon, if it is necessary, it can be seen when it is necessary to do an operation, because it's very rarely now we do operations on contractures. But anyway, the hospital staff is your support. The treatment is done at home. When? If you can do daily moving, nursing the child, daily moving, stretching out, that means you have that half an hour taking care, being together with the child, that's wonderful, would be perfect. If you are overcrowded with so many other tasks, probably you have a volunteer who comes in 3 times a week and will be taught by the physios, by you, and can be helpful. Wonderful, let's do so. Volunteer will be able to help, and very often it does so good to him, helping you and the child. Maybe the village health worker can be helpful too, so that you probably reach 5 times a week, 5 from 7 days, the child has the stretching, have the movements, the positioning and so on, just to maintain flexible. There is an organization in Germany, they really teach that, and they have groups of volunteers in the villages, go from one house to another where there is a spastic child and do that physiotherapy movement work. And if you look at these children, even 20 years after being born with spasticity, they are all in a good shape. It's really surprising, and there you can see doing regular prevention by these movements, active movements, assistive movement, passive movement, positioning and so on, the basic physiotherapy techniques. If you do that regularly, the child is participating and has a good result. You don't see it if you don't do it. But you cannot do it alone, and don't think the mother can do everything, because the mother is involved in many other tasks, and therefore she needs support from outside. And therefore the idea of the volunteer is a good idea. So we do it with the volunteers' help, we do it with the physio's help, we do it with the village health workers' help. We do it regularly, at least 5 times in a week, and you take time for a half an hour. How to do it, you will see in the video which will follow after this introduction video. Whenever you have a question, don't hesitate to contact us. info@physioinlesotho.ch, and we will be happy to make even a phone call to you and we can discuss the situation. Probably there is a local physiotherapist, probably you have a group nearby who is supporting families with CP children. Please be in touch with them, they can be really a resource for you.